Hello and welcome to Anu's Classroom. In the series on strategic management, in this video, we will be discussing about the concept of strategy. So, in this video, our aim is to learn about why we should learn about strategy, what exactly is strategy, what is strategic management, how is strategy different from policies and tactics, what are the various levels of strategy, and the importance of strategy. So, let us begin our discussion with understanding what is strategy. In the introductory video for this course, I had mentioned about how strategy differentiates between a successful organization and a not so successful one. So, the ultimate aim of strategy is to actually derive some value, right? Um, it is, you can say, in the most layman terms, a plan to create value. The way a company plans to create value is nothing but the strategy of that company. Now, when we say value, the first thing that as a novice would come to our mind is profit, right? The ultimate aim of any business is to maximize the wealth or profit for its shareholders. Especially if it is a for-profit organization that we are being a part of, we definitely need a handsome paycheck at the end of the day. If we are working for someone, or if it is our own enterprise, then we would need to fill our pockets in order to keep the concern moving and meet all our needs, right? So, do you think that strategy only focuses on profit? Well, for a company, when we think about strategy, the reason why we strategize is to increase the value, and profit is something that we derive out of the value. If there is no value, then we will not have profit. And you can think of profit, or for that matter, any financial measurement, as a evaluation of our strategy's performance. Right. So a strategy actually describes how the ends or the goals will be achieved by whatever means we have. Strategy can be an intended strategy, or it can emerge as a pattern of activity as the organization adapts to the environment or competes with its competitors. It involves activities like strategic planning and strategic thinking, right? A business strategy outlines the specific ways in which an organization plans to position itself, achieve its short term as well as long term goals, and grow over a period of time. Now, as business aspirants, management aspirants, why should we learn about strategy? The process by which the objectives are formulated and achieved is known as strategic management, right? And strategy acts as the means to achieve these objectives. It is the grand design, or you can think of it as an overall plan, which an organization chooses in order to move or react towards a set of objectives by using what it has with it, be it financials, be it its manpower, be it any kind of resource that it has at its disposal. It tries to move towards a better goal or a future expansion, or maybe even react to the environmental changes or the competitors that are popping up in the market, or any kind of threat or an opportunity. That is what strategy is all about. So, as a manager, understanding about strategy would help the organization that you are managing to meet its uncertain situations with due diligence. And without an effective strategy, the organization will be like a ship without a rudder, it's going to go down. So, what exactly is strategic management? It is the management of an organization's resources to achieve its goals and objectives. It involves setting objectives, analyzing the competitive environment, analyzing the internal organization, evaluating strategies, and ensuring that management will roll out the strategies across the organization. A strategic manager would oversee the strategic management plans and devise ways for the organization to meet their benchmark goals. When we learn about strategic management, especially strategic management in the modern times, you cannot go without understanding or knowing about this man. He is Dr. Michel E. Porter. He is a professor at Harvard Business School, and he is a very renowned economist and one of the world's most legendary thinkers on management and competitiveness. His first book on competitive strategy has defined modern strategy since its publication in 1980. So he is considered as the father of modern business strategy, and his proposals on how what strategy is not, and how do organizations decide on which strategy to achieve, have all been applied as well as debated over multiple times across these years. So you would also be coming up across his thoughts more or less very often in our course on strategic management. So let us look at Mitzberg's 5 P's of strategy. When we learn about management in uh, other subjects like organizational behaviors and things like that, we would have come across the 5 M's of management. Similarly, over here, we have to know about the 5 P's of strategy. It is basically a definition of how you can view strategy. So strategy, you can think of it as one of those words which are defined in one way but often interpreted or often what you can say acted upon in a totally different manner. You ask any person what is your strategy, they will start by telling you what their plan is, right? So, what is your strategy of achieving good marks? You will start by saying you will get up early in the morning, you will start with so and so subject, you will plan to study for maybe so and so hours in the morning, so and so hours in the evening. You will be looking at question papers, and then you will properly time manage, and you will prepare for your examination by understanding how much time is there for each question, or maybe dividing the number of pages so that you can get the get maximum out of your time and the booklet. Such many things, right? When somebody asks you, if I ask you what is your strategy on passing your IGNOU MBA with flying colors, you will start saying all these things. Is that strategy? I want you to think, pause and think for a moment. I asked you for strategy. Is that a strategy you're giving me? In fact, no. What you gave me, if your answer would be like what I said just now, wake up so and so, study for so and so hours, look at so and so number of question papers, things like that, that is not strategy. What you just would have listed down is at most what you call a plan. Now, you must understand as we embark on this journey on studying strategic management that though we may say that strategy is a plan to create value, but that is the most baseline, most layman definition. And as we are much better than a layman, we should know that strategy is not planning, or strategy is not only planning. So, before we look at these 5 P's of strategy, let us take a look at what exactly is strategy. If it is not planning, then so, as we learn about strategy, or as we are trying to understand about strategy, we should learn about value. Why? Because the ultimate aim of strategy, our ultimate aim with implementing strategies, formulating strategies, is to create or increase the value of a firm. So, what exactly is value? When do you increase the firm's value? For that, you need to understand two metrics. One is the willingness to pay, right? So that comes from your customer point of view. That is, whatever the product or whatever the service that you are trying to give your customers, how much are they at most willing to pay you? One penny, or maybe 1 rupee more, maybe even 1 paisa more, they are not going to buy it. You will lose your customers. So willingness to pay is, you can think of it as that level that your customers are at most willing to pay for your products and services. So you should be careful to not price your products above this willingness to pay if you are to make any sale or make any profit. Another aspect is the willingness to sell. Well, this is an aspect from your employees, or your suppliers, okay, the people who from whom you actually get your inputs. Okay, so if you're thinking about your employees, then it is the minimum amount of money that a person would expect out of this particular work being done for you, right? So like for example, if you are let's say Yeah, so think about the field workers who we have, right? In um, like, or maybe our maids, housemaids. Okay, so there is a minimum wage rate, right? That is prevalent in the market. You even try to reduce 100 rupees from that, like maybe per month. I don't know how much it is over there for you. Maybe usually for us over here, since it is a village area and all, like in my place actually, per day for a woman worker to come and work even in our fields, the minimum wage around starts at 750 rupees. You offer them even 700 rupees, or you that is 750 rupees plus meal and all. You offer them 750 rupees. It is very difficult to get. If they have time, they'll come and go. But if you offer 700 rupees, no matter if you're going to give them 3 meals a day also, they're not going to come, right? If you give 800 rupees, maybe initially they will come, but then slowly the market value will increase to 800 rupees, and then that becomes the new normal, right? So that is the willingness to sell. They are willing to sell you their time for minimum of this much. Anything more, they're going to be happy that they worked for you, right? So that is the willingness to sell. In between these two is where your firm's value lies. So if you have to increase value of the firm, you either have to increase the willingness of the customers to pay you, or by some means you have to reduce the willingness to sell. That is, even with a lower amount of money, they should be able to come to you and work for you. In each of, if you can increase these parameters, either up, willingness to pay up, or willingness to sell down, then you can say that there is a net increase in the value of that company. So our strategy, the company's strategy, when we formulate, it should be, the ultimate aim should always be to either increase the willingness to pay by some means, or decrease the willingness to sell by some means. Now, so there is this particular x amount of rupees, let's say 100 rupees is the maximum that a customer is willing to pay. If you sell your product at say 80 rupees, then the customer will be very satisfied, right? Because for 20 rupees less, he is getting the same value, right? He would have paid even 100 rupees, but he's getting the same thing for 80 rupees, means the delight of that customer actually increases. So he is very happy by being associated with your product or service, that he might even go for recommending you to others, or definitely he might come back to you, right? Now, let us say the willingness to sell, like for example, in the example of the maid, let's say the minimum wage is 750 rupees. If you are ready to even offer them say 900 rupees, then definitely you have increased the compensation. So what happens over here? It is the satisfaction, right? The employee satisfaction of working for you changes, right? It increases because they were ready for even 750 rupees, but you're offering them 900. Now, in between these two parameters is what, where your firm's margin lies, right? In between these two parameters, whatever amount of money you are making, that is your firm's margin, that is your profit, right? Now, if in case you did not decrease the willingness to sell and you just increase the compensation, let's say you just increase the compensation to, let's say, rupees 1000. Now what happened? Your firm's value did not change. Okay, it is still in this range only. But you transferred the firm's margin into the employee's satisfaction. Value is not created. So this is not a very good strategy. A very good strategy should actually increase the value of the firm. That is, somehow your customers should be either willing to pay you more, or somehow maybe because of the work culture there, or maybe the additional benefits a company might give offer their employees, the employees would be happy to put in the same effort for a lesser amount of money. That is where value increases, and that is where, or that is how you should be formulating your strategy. So unlike a plan which might be like maybe improve customer experience, or open 10 more stores in 10 more localities, or maybe create some talent development plan, or things like that, which are plans. Plans are usually having this kind of a structure, right, where you have a set of activities which you tick mark one by one after you do. That is a plan, but that's not strategy. Why? Because plans like these, they are very much controllable. They are within your command. You decide when to wake up, right? In the case of preparing for term and examinations, you decide when to wake up. You decide how much modules to study in a day. You decide how many question papers to look at. That's your plan. That is controllable. It's totally in your control, and it gives you a false sense of security and a false sense of what you can say winning. But that's not it. Strategy will make you uncomfortable. It will give you angst. It will give you constant pangs of anxiety whether or not you are doing the right thing, because strategy at most is a theory. You cannot prove it until it is actually implemented and evaluated. Unlike a plan, which can be proven, which can be, which can be forecasted, strategy cannot. Strategy strategy is totally uncontrollable, and you can just hope that whatever whatever theories you have, whatever plans you have made based on those theories, they actually do work out. You can only pray and hope for it, right? So that is how planning and strategy differs. So you might ask me, okay, Anu, so are you saying that planning is not at all necessary? Planning is not strategy, means you don't have to plan if you is it like that? No, that is not what I'm saying. Strategy, for a strategy you need a plan, but planning is but a very, you can say, a very limited definition of what strategy is. So when I say it is a limited definition, then what actually is strategy? Well, that is where the 5 P's of strategy comes into picture. These 5 P's, that is plan, pattern, position, perspective, ploy, and recently we have an addition of one more P, that is practice. All these things put together is what strategy is actually. So strategy as a plan, you write down the, it has what you can say, it has a means of preparing the activities that you have to do for the future or for looking ahead. So you can think of it as like a intended strategy. Okay, then it has a pattern, okay, which means to say that the organization should be consistently following this particular course of action. Okay, like for example, you think about Apple. It has been following its consistent high in end designs, secure features, top notch quality, all these things. So it has that pattern of consistently being that, right? Then it is a position, it is a way of positioning yourself in the market, within the industry, with respect to competitors. Again, you can think of Apple here, how Apple positioned itself, especially in the music industry or in the media industry, especially with the release of iTunes, that people would be much willing to participate or collaborate with Apple because of that reach, right? There have been instances where bands have agreed to even pay Apple, or not pay Apple, do music for Apple's advertisements free of cost, because it is a way of for them also to gain advertisement, right? If your music is there in Apple, means it is uh, it gets associated with that much of a quality, and it becomes good for the bands too. So they strategize like that. So it was Apple's strategy to get into the market with and make for themselves a position, and it paid off for them, that they're getting now work done for free. And the new upcoming bands in the music industry, their strategy is to collaborate with Apple in order to gain more viewers and make a mark in the industry, right? Make a name for themselves, get known, right? So strategy is also uh, putting your organization in a position. It is a perspective that a company takes. Like for example, again, you can think of Apple, or you can think about McDonald's, right? You think about McDonald's, what comes into your mind? A very standardized process. Whether you go to a McDonald's in Kerala, or you go for a McDonald's in Andheri, you're sure that you will get your meal ready by maybe in 5-10 minutes. It's going to be low cost, it's going to be a very standardized procedure, right? Quality will be assured. Like you go to any McDonald's, you order a Big Mac, the taste is going to be pretty much the same, unless for maybe local ingredient differences, right? It's going to be the same. So that is the perspective the company takes, right? It could even be a ploy, that is a maneuver which is intended to trick the opponent, or a rival. And practice, so it should be put into constant practice, right? Without a constant practice, you cannot. So how is strategy different from policy, right? So, policies are generally the statements that guide the thinking and channel the energy towards a particular direction. You can think of it as policies are formulated for repeated tasks, right? It is for a proper code of conduct. Whereas strategy, it is unified, it is structured, but and it integrated, but it is to achieve a very specific objective of that organization, right? It is more or less like a one time thing. Okay, you have to achieve so and so goal. Okay, maybe you have to increase your turnover by 20%. You strategize for that. You don't make a policy for that, you make a strategy for that. But in order to inculcate a company culture in all its employees, it is a repetitive task because employees come and go. You formulate a policy. So that is how strategy and policy differs, right? So strategies are very useful, especially for specific purposes, and they are also often made after considering the moves of your competitors as well. Think about Complan and Horlicks. Think about McDonald's and Burger King, Pizza Hut and Domino's. Domino's will not come with a strategy without thinking about what Pizza Hut or Papa John's might do when they come up with this particular strategy. You will also have, it is almost like a chess, right? In chess, we say strategies, right? Strategize your moves. Same thing is what happens in real life business as well. Now, how is strategy different from tactics? What is tactic? Well, strategy is, you can think of it as an action plan that takes you to where you are, from where you are to where you want to go. Tactics is the individual steps and actions that will actually get you there. You can think of it as the ways. Tactics as the ways that will help you move from where you are to where you want to be. So in the business context, it means the specific action, okay, the teams will take to implement the initiatives that are outlined in the strategy. So if you again look at the chess analogy, strategy is positioning your pieces in a specific arrangement to get where you want to be, whereas tactics is the act of moving those set pieces into those positions. Now, when you think about the different levels of strategy in an organization, we have mainly three levels. It starts from the functional level, okay? That is functional strategy. This is the strategy which relates to a single functional operation, okay, and the activities that are involved therein. Then on top of that comes the business level strategy, like that is related to each business unit and to make best use of its resources given the environment that business unit faces. Then comes the overall corporate strategy, which is at the top of this pyramid or at the top of the corporate level, where strategies are formulated as per the policies of the organization on the whole. Like, for example, when you think about it, let's say Tata's as a corporate, they will have a particular goal to achieve, right? Then Tata's is divided into many different business units. You have TCS, you have Titan, you have Tanishq, all different aspects, right? Tata Motors is there. So these are all business units. Those business units will have their own strategy, and that is business strategy. Now, in Tanishq itself, you can think of functional as there are different departments, right? Diamonds, or gemstones. You have gold. In that itself, you have 18 karat gold, 22 karat gold, 24 karat gold. So think about Titan. It actually was launched in order to make the Indian market, gold market, the people of India familiarized with 18 karat gold jewelry. But then they realized that Indians take very much consideration into how much gold is actually there in your gold, and so 18 karat is not gonna work out. So then definitely they expanded to 22 karat gold, but they're still pushing the 18 karat gold, right? You get amazing ornaments in Tanishq, 18 karat ornaments. They're priced almost similar to your 22 karat, which actually makes us Indian consumers think, why would I spend more on lesser gold? But then that is functional strategy to, push their Mia line or push their gemstone line, push their diamonds line, or push their 22 karat line, like that. That is functional strategy. How do you get more people to come in and buy diamonds from them? Something like that. That is the functional strategy. So that is the three levels of strategy in a corporate. Now, why is strategy important? Well, strategy helps the organization to take decisions on a long range forecast. It deals with new trends, meet competition in an effective manner. Strategy helps the management to be very flexible and meet the uncertain situations. Efficient strategy formulation and implementation will result in finally financial benefits to the organization in the form of increased profits. Strategy provides focus in terms of organizational objectives, and it will thus provide clarity of direction for achieving the objectives. It improves corporate communication, coordination, as well as allocation of resources. So I hope with this video you have understood the concept of strategy, which is very important for you to properly understand the remaining what you can say remaining concepts that we will be covering in in this course on strategic management. If you did, definitely consider subscribing and hitting the notification icon so that you do not miss an update from our channel.